Hi everyone, welcome to the Stories from Pre-Health Students webinar. My name is Eric and I'm a rising sophomore double majoring in physiology and neurobiology and economics from Storrs, Connecticut.
Hey guys, my name is Rohan and I am also a rising sophomore. I'm currently a pre-pharmacy student pursuing a PharmD. I'm from Glastonbury, Connecticut.
In the next few webinars, our peers are going to talk to you about the different pathways you can take as a pre-health student.
But there's nothing better than hearing first-hand accounts from current students. Today, you'll be hearing from a pre-dental, a pre-med, a pre-PA, and a nursing student.
Our first speaker is Wasia, who is a pre-dental student.
All right, hi guys. My name is Wasia. I'm a rising senior, majoring in P&B with a minor in MCV. I'm from Newington, Connecticut. And a fun fact about me is I'm creating and producing a film, my own film, my first film actually, on women doctors in telemedicine. That's a little bit about me.
So Wasia, what exactly made you choose UConn over other colleges?
So I chose UConn for two reasons. The one reason was the financial support it offered me. So I was accepted into the Row Scholars Program, which provided like extra financial support to cover tuition and textbooks and school supply expenses. And then it also created that little community for me and guided me through my path of medicine, which led to, dental medicine. So that was one of the reasons. Another was the community. So, through the tours I attended on campus and through my family friends, I was able to get a better look at, the different communities on campus. And like I felt really strongly that I would find myself here. So, I'm Pakistani Muslim on the pre-dental track. So, there's obviously like a mosque on campus. There's like that Pakistani cultural club, and there's like a lot of different pre-health organizations, so that actually kind of made me more excited to join UConn and the community. So yeah.
What inspired you to pursue dentistry as a career?
So I guess what inspired me was when I went in on my medical mission trip. So my interest actually began the summer before my junior year. I went on a medical mission trip with MHS, Medical Humanitarian Society, and we went to the Dominican Republic for 2 weeks. So for the most part, our team was like working in mobile clinics in the mountain area and areas surrounding Santiago, which is like one of the cities in DR. And there were actually 2 days where we got to like go over to another town and shadow in a hospital. And I never planned on shadowing the dentist. I think they were calling out names and they were saying like, there's an OBGYN we could shadow. That was like on the top of my list, but I guess like other people took it first. So I got lucky and I got randomly assigned to the dental clinic. That time when I was shadowing, I got to see a root canal and a tooth extraction from the dentist perspective. And I think that changed my perspective on on dental medicine because when you go in as a patient, you're getting a cleaning, a filling, whatever. Like it's different, but like when you're actually like standing next to the dentist and you're looking in and seeing what they're doing, I think that's essentially what changed my perspective. Sorry, not perspection, perspective. So yeah, um, I actually got a chance to help control the pressures of the laughing gas while the dentist was performing the root canal on the patient. So that was like pretty cool and exciting. Um, and I guess I found myself to be more excited about this field because I love being hands-on and I love helping people for as long as I can remember. Like I know that when I first, got interested in dentistry, like, for the longest time since I was a kid, I loved doing henna tattoos. I always love activities where I get to essentially get as hands-on as I can, whether it be painting. I used to be like a barista at Starbucks. So I love making drinks. So that actually told me that, like, maybe dentistry is my field. So that's kind of what inspired me to pursue dentistry.
Honestly, that sounds like such an incredible experience. And I guess it's always good to have an experience like that just because it's sometimes like you never know what you actually want to do until you actually do something inside of it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like dead set on medicine. I'm gonna go to medical school. That's why I feel like I was looking freaking out when I was like, oh my God, I think I love dentistry. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, other than that experience, how exactly have you been involved with dentistry on the UConn campus?
So that's a good question. So the first time I ever was exposed to dentistry was through that experience on the mission trip. So then when I came back, I wasn't completely sure if this field was for me. So I decided to go, go get more experience. So that fall semester, through the UConn Pre-Dental Society, I was able to attend a mini dental conference hosted by Harvard's American Student Dental Association. And at this conference, I learned about different fields in dentistry like orthodontics, prosthodontics, oral maxillofacial area surgery through different faculty there. And I got to hear from students about through the Harvard dental students, about how to get into dental school, what do dental schools look for, what are their requirements, the different dental requirements, how to study for the dental entrance exam, the DAT. And I got the chance to like network with other pre-dental students, and get to know like where their path was. So I think that actually helped me to solidify my decision as to like would this field be for me? And then so that was that. And then I was like, okay, now it's my time to like shadow. So obviously, COVID happened when by the time I was in the shadow this summer and everything. So I didn't get a chance. But what sorry. I forgot what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought. No, but one of the things UConn, like in particular, has connected me with is through this passport in dentistry program. So obviously after COVID gets better, I'm gonna probably do it. But UConn Health has this program called Passport in Dentistry. So what they do is they teach pre-dental students about different career paths in dentistry, how to get into dental school, how to master the interview, and then actually, I think you might have to pay for this. Not really, and I'm not too sure about that. But basically, they have this clinic session. So you get your own toolkit, and you get like a mannequin with like, teeth, and, you get to practice doing impressions and getting like hands on as dental students do in their sim labs. So, that's actually really cool because you kind of want that clinical exposure to kind of really know like, wow, like, is this for me? So I think that's one of the coolest thing that, UConn has to offer, or UConn Health in particular. And I know, and I actually was going to sign up for, Rutgers has a similar like introduction to dentistry program where they do like a week-long training and expose you to different fields, and you get to practice. For that one I know that there's a fee, but I think like stuff like this, and I know that the pre-dental society does like, I think they do sometimes trips, but yeah, getting connected through them, and yeah, that's kind of how I've been involved. I'm kind of like a newbie at this.
So as a rising senior, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the dental school application process, and also what kind of guidance you might have received from UConn along the way?
Yeah, of course. So I'm currently taking a gap year, so I'm not actually applying this cycle. I'm going to be applying next cycle. But when I finally decided that dentistry was my field, I made an appointment with Dr. Abbott, who's actually the dental advisor. And we went over dental school requirements, the DAT, when I should take it. So I told him my whole plan. And, when Dr. Abbott gives you, the go ahead, like you're doing good, like, you're in the right spot, you're on the right path, and you're like, okay, if Dr. Abbott approves, then, you're doing everything right, I guess. But he essentially tells you, we went over, dental school requirements, science GPA, GPAs, and I think he said like average science should be a 3.5. Uh, and we talked about the DAT, letters of recommendation, how many you should have. So that's kind of like that first step you take. And I think that so yeah, so that like through Dr. Abbott, that was like the first step I took. And then this summer, actually, I did the UCHL UConn Health Leaders Program. I think you might have heard of it. But there's so many pre-meds in there, and I think I pretty much was the only pre-dental or whatnot. But I asked, like if there's another admissions event, could they, include about dental admissions and whatnot. And then they through that actually I got connected to this UConn dental student, and she's literally the sweetest person I've ever met. She gave me her number and literally walked me through the whole interview applications, like what you need, personal statement, literally like if you ever want someone to give you the 411, like are you ready for dental school, like that's who I met. So I think like that's kind of like my experience with the application process. So like I'm just like familiarizing myself with, what do I need to get ready for next cycle? Who am I going to ask for letters of rec? So that kind of stuff. And I'm planning on taking my dental exam in October. So that's kind of why I'm studying for it right now. It's hell, but everybody's gonna get through it. So yeah, that's a little bit about the kind of guidance I received on the way. So yeah.
Wow. So thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences with us. And we wish you good luck on your dental exam this October.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Carrie Morgan, who is a pre-med student.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm incoming senior double major in health sciences and molecular cell biology. I'm from Norfolk, Massachusetts, and I live about 3 minutes away from Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play. So, needless to say, I'm a diehard fan.
Hey, Carrie. So I'm actually a huge Patriots fan too. Um, so being from Massachusetts, what made you choose UConn?
Yeah, so since I grew up in Massachusetts, I was definitely inclined to go to UMass Amherst, where roughly 70 students from my graduating class ended up going. But I remember touring UConn's campus on Accepted Students Day and absolutely loving the atmosphere. I hadn't really considered UConn up until that point, but then after touring UMass, it just was so underwhelming in comparison to UConn. And I also just wanted to break out of my comfort zone and make new friends, start fresh, and just make my school my own. So I chose UConn just for its overall atmosphere, and it's definitely a research powerhouse. So that was a pro for sure.
Yeah, those are definitely some of the reasons I chose UConn too. So what inspired you to pursue medicine as a career?
So funny enough, I always wanted to become a veterinarian when I was really young. But as I got older, I saw the world around me and how people were treated, and I knew I wanted to do something to help others. When I was 14 years old, I had to call the ambulance for my mother who was having a heart attack, which was really scary. Um, and this moment in my life really inspired me to pursue medicine, for I was seeing the pits and falls of the healthcare system. And growing up, I also saw my mom struggle with her weight and other health conditions. And far too often, doctors were just passing judgment and not really helping, but actually making her feel worse instead. So I saw my mom also get denied health insurance because of her pre existing conditions, which really is a huge problem in the United States. And these areas of healthcare are where I want to make a difference. And that's why I've been motivated to become a doctor ever since. And I think medicine is truthfully about the patients first. And that's why I believe every doctor's mindset should just be patient centric. And I want to exemplify this in my career. So I know there are people out there that would really need this type of help.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's what every doctor's mindset should be, like you said, rather than the money. what they should be seeking is just like the need to help others. So, how exactly have you been involved with medicine on campus?
So last year, I became the president of Pre-Medical Society, and I'm currently the career development chair of a pre-health academic fraternity called Sigma Theta Alpha. I recently got involved in a student internship through Planned Parenthood, which is through UConn as well. And this is just like an organization I've always supported and I've been passionate about. So I was excited to jump on board for that. I also took an EMT course sophomore year. And since then, I've worked at St. Francis Hospital, CCMC, and then Windsor Ambulance as well.
So you're currently a senior applying to medical school. Can you tell us about your experience with the medical school process and also any sort of guidance that you might have received from UConn along the way?
Yeah, to be completely honest, the whole application process was kind of stressful, but it opens in June. It's highly encouraged that you apply earlier rather than later in the cycle, which is towards August. It can be really difficult to not rush your application, but making a quality submission with all the components is really the best choice. Getting good recommendations from a variety of sources, having medical experience, and then, of course, volunteer hours are all really important as well. But for me, the MCAT was probably the biggest challenge just because it required a lot of energy for several months. But it's definitely doable, and people pass with flying colors. The personal statement also takes a lot of time and revisions, but it really makes you think about your experiences in medicine and also your passion for medicine. But after submitting the full application, soon after you'll be getting secondary applications come in, and that requires a lot of writing as well. But as far as UConn goes, they've been really good preparing me for these steps in the process, and then the advising staff is always more than willing to meet with you just to address any of your concerns. In addition, they take a lot of time and effort to make your composite letter. I've seen it firsthand. So that's a review of your academic performance and your involvement as a student at UConn. I love all the staff. I work with them through Pre-Med Society, and they're all so friendly and resourceful. And I'm so thankful that I had all their help and support through the process.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us, Carrie. Our next speaker is Mel Gallery, who is a pre-PA student.
Hey guys, my name is Mel, and I'm a physiology and neurobiology major. I also am minoring in psychology here at UConn. I'm a senior this year, so class of 2021, and I'm in the honors program, and I'm from East Hartford, Connecticut.
That's great to hear. I mean, I'm from Glastonbury, so it's not too far from one another. So what made you choose UConn?
So my brother actually attended UConn and he loved it. And since it's only half an hour away from home for me, it was a real easy decision to make. We also, in my hometown, not to brag or anything, but we have Rensselaer Fields. So I grew up like having the Huskies all around all the time. And also was sort of a financial decision because in-state tuition is just very compelling.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely one of the reasons I chose UConn as well. So what inspired you to pursue to become a physician's assistant?
So interestingly enough, I only made the formal decision to go the PA route this summer. So when I first entered UConn 4 years ago, I was struggling between the decision of being a PA or going the MD route. And I literally just made the decision at the beginning of this summer when it came time to study for the MCAT, when it came time to start looking at applications and getting references is when I really made my decision. And ultimately for me, it came down to kind of the freedom of being a PA in terms of being able to change specialties a lot more. Like I can go from being a trauma to obstetrics to primary care, whereas as a resident, you kind of go into a specialized field and you're in that one field for your entire career, which is great and focused for some people, but for me, I like to move around a lot more. And so PA is definitely it for me. Also along the lines was the time commitment, because while PA school is very daunting and another almost 3 years after undergrad, it's not as long as an MD amount of schooling. So I know that PA is right for me in so many different ways.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy that you made that decision. You made the leap to switch. That's great to hear. So, is there anything else you want to share about your pre-PA journey?
Yes, I cannot stress enough the importance of extracurriculars and clinical experience. They are so important. Being an awesome scholar, good at grades, good at math, good at, learning all of the stuff about physiology, neurobiology, that's awesome. That's great. That's super important. But what's just as important there is being well rounded, is being involved in your community and knowing that healthcare is the right track for you. For me, being experiences like being an EMT, working at Hartford Hospital, and even programs like KDSAP that are intercorrelated with medicine have shown me and admissions counselors that medicine is the path that I want to be on and I'm looking forward to being a part of. So just get involved in your community, get involved in healthcare, make sure that that's exactly where you want to be.
Well, awesome, Mel. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us.
Thanks for having me.
Our next speaker is Suneri, who is a pharmacy student.
Hi, my name is Suneri. I'm a second year pharmacy student. So I'm a senior getting my bachelor's in 2021, but I'll be at UConn for 2 more years to get my doctor of pharmacy degree in 2023. And I'm from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, which is just about an hour away from here.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Suneri. I'm a pre-pharmacy student as well, so I'm going to be in the pharmacy school soon. So, what made you choose UConn?
Yeah, so I actually knew that I wanted to do pharmacy in high school. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to a school that actually offered pharmacy as a major. And that was a pretty big criteria for me. I think I only applied to a couple of schools out of the 8 schools that didn't offer a pharmacy program. And in all honesty, it also really helped that it was a financially sound option for me, especially considering that I'm an out of state student and my state university didn't offer pharmacy as a major. And I also wanted to make sure that I was going to a school with a vibrant campus, a lot of different opportunities. I didn't want to go to a school that only focused on science, healthcare, or even just pharmacy, but a school where there were a lot of people of different majors, all different backgrounds. So even though I would have my cohort of pharmacy students, I would also have friends within other fields of study outside of my major.
What inspired you to pursue pharmacy as a career?
Yeah, so both my grandparents were doctors in India, and because of them, I always grew up with an interest in healthcare. But it wasn't until I got to high school that I started to look a little more into what careers were available in healthcare. Frankly, in high school, the only career within healthcare that guidance counselors would focus on was medicine and becoming a doctor, which I personally think should change. The focus should go to other careers as well. I just didn't feel like being a doctor was a career path for me. So I just started doing my own research on what else was out there. I found pharmacy to be a great way to combine being in the healthcare field and taking care of people while also having a career in education rooted in science. I also quickly found out that there were so many avenues within pharmacy. Yes, obviously, the most well known type of pharmacy is retail, where you see pharmacists working at a CVS, Walgreens, something like that, which is definitely an excellent option. There are also careers in the pharmaceutical industry, hospitals, consulting, geriatrics, compounding, and then specializations within those areas as well.
That's great. That's super insightful for anyone who's actually trying to learn more about pharmacy because I feel like the common conception is that um, there's only retail pharmacy, but there really is so many other avenues.
Mhm.
So, how exactly have you been involved on campus with pharmacy?
Yeah, so I feel like I've been involved in a lot of different ways. Once I started pharmacy school, there were a lot of different clubs and organizations that I found out I could join. One of my biggest commitments within the School of Pharmacy has been Lambda Kappa Sigma, which is a professional pharmacy sorority focused on elevating the professional pharmacy for women. I'm their new member educator. So basically, I recruit new members and then teach them about our organization once they've joined. So I'm in the midst of recruitment right now. It's been a great support system for me while I was a pre-pharmacy student when I joined, and even now when I'm a pharmacy student. I'm also part of the professionalism committee within the School of Pharmacy to help plan events and initiatives to promote professionalism among students. And I'm a member of the student organization chapter of the American Pharmacists Association. And then outside of pharmacy, I also work as a campus tour guide, showing UConn to prospective students, explaining the programs and opportunities, different majors available to them at UConn.
Awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about the guidance you received from UConn when applying into pharmacy school?
Yeah, sure. So when I had initially applied to UConn from high school, there was a special program in pharmacy available to students. This was for high performing students in high school who knew that they wanted to pursue pharmacy. And so I applied to that program and I was accepted into that program. That program has since changed to sort of an early assurance program, and that program isn't available now for pre pharmacy students. But for me, it was a great way to streamline the process of applying to the School of Pharmacy. As far as guidance that I received, the professors and advisors were very willing to talk to pre pharmacy students well before they applied to the School of Pharmacy. There's actually a pre-pharmacy learning community that houses pre-pharmacy students, classes that pre-pharmacy students can take to get themselves familiar with pharmacy. And these classes are usually taught by pharmacy faculty. And the School of Pharmacy puts on PCAT workshops. PCAT is the pharmacy school entrance exam. They put on application workshops. And my pre-pharmacy advisor made sure that I was all set with my prerequisite classes and on top of my general education requirements that I had to finish in 2 years rather than the typical 4 years. For me, joining Lambda Kappa Sigma actually helped me a lot because it allowed me to do a mock interview with some of the students who were already in pharmacy school to get a feel for how the actual interview would be. But honestly, for me, the whole process was very similar to applying to college from high school just 2 years before.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I mean, having that support and having the connections to help you apply into pharmacy school is always great. So is there anything else you want to add to your pharmacy journey, like throughout your journey?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I kind of just want to highlight for students who may be interested in pharmacy or UConn School of Pharmacy are that there are actually tracks to allow students to specialize in a certain area of pharmacy before they graduate. So, there's the pediatric track, the urban service track, pharmaceutical sciences track, and then the leaders track. And personally, I think this is a very unique aspect of UConn School of Pharmacy, and it wasn't something that I saw at any of the schools of pharmacy that I had toured. So this year, I started in the pediatric track in the hopes of pursuing a position in a children's hospital specializing in pediatric pharmacy and care. You obviously don't need to join a track in order to be a successful pharmacy student, but I just want to emphasize that there are so many areas that one can pursue within pharmacy, even during your last year in the program and most other pharmacy programs in general. You're on rotations for the whole year in different areas and in different settings available in pharmacy to help figure out what type of pharmacy you're actually interested in. So you're definitely given enough time and resources to figure out what career path within pharmacy is right for you.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and sharing your experiences with us, Neri.
Of course, no problem.
Our final speaker is Sam, who is a nursing student.
Hi, my name is Samantha Feliciano. I'm a junior nursing major from Waterbury, Connecticut.
Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you. So
Nice
we're
to-
wondering, what made you choose UConn?
So all of my high school time, I dreamed of going out of state. So I was looking in Massachusetts, and I knew I wanted to be in the medical fields, but I just applied to UConn because I didn't think I would get to the nursing program. It's very competitive. Um, So once I got in, it kind of was no question, like I'm gonna go to UConn because I couldn't give up the opportunity of being able to go to the School of Nursing.
So, what made you decide to pursue nursing specifically as a career?
I knew I wanted to have a career that would allow me to help people every day. And my godmother, who I spent a lot of time with growing up, is a nurse, and she never has anything negative to say about it. Even during this whole pandemic, she still loves her job. So it's really, really nice to see someone be so passionate. So I knew that it would be a good choice for me because it would allow me to interact with patients and get that one-on-one time with them.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome that you have someone, especially like close to you, who's a nurse, so you can actually talk to them about how they like it.
hmm
So, how exactly have you been involved on campus with nursing?
So it started in my freshman year, and I joined the nursing learning community for living. So I lived with a bunch of other freshmen and sophomore nursing majors, and then I joined the Student Nurses Association here at UConn. Um, and yeah, we kind of just volunteered for different things together. We became really good friends, and I'm still friends with a lot of the people who I met during my freshman year.
Can you tell us about your career plans after UConn and what kind of guidance did you receive from UConn along the way?
So I want to work in either the ICU or the emergency department. I want to do something a little bit more intense than most graduates would want to do right away. Eventually, once I get a little bit more experience as a nurse, I may change my mind when it comes down to this time, but I would like to become a nurse anesthetist. So I'd return back to school and pursue that career. For guidance at UConn, the School of Nursing staff, they're incredible. They are always sending emails, always reaching out, always answering right away. A lot of them give out their personal phone numbers so you can get in touch with them whenever you need to. Some of them answer at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's really, really interesting how they're so interested in helping us. Um, they never they never leave us hanging. They, even if they don't know the answer, they always find it and they'll reach out to us later. And they're really reassuring when things get rough. And then as for the clinical instructors, when we're actually at the hospitals, they are also really incredible. They answer all questions, no matter how weird or crazy they are. And they push us because they know our capabilities before we even do. So I like to say that at UConn School of Nursing, you're never alone. If you don't know something, someone else will find out for you and help you, and nobody wants you to fail there.
That's awesome to hear. That's honestly so great to have supporting staff and just supporting peers around you. Um, so is there anything else you'd like to share about your nursing journey?
So, to anyone who's interested in pursuing nursing, I think it's important to know that it's not an easy major to choose. It can be very difficult at times. Um, when you're picking a career that you're responsible for saving other people's lives, and you can, you just don't know, you're going to see so many things. You have to know that it's going to take a lot. You're going to have to learn a lot. Um, since I've been at UConn, there hasn't been a semester that has been uh, super easy, but it's all been worth it in the end. Um, so yeah, I think for future students, I think it's important to recognize that you have to be okay with facing setbacks. But it helps you so much more in the end. Since I've started going to clinical, the look on patients' faces when I walk in and they know I'm a nursing student, and they just tell me every single time I walk in, they're like, I'm so glad you chose to be a nurse because you make me feel so much more comfortable. And they're nothing but nice. They love nurses. So it's really nice to know that everything you worked hard for, it ends up being worth it in the end.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us, Sam.
Thank you for having me.